You finally have an hour of free time. You boot up your console, grab your controller, and open up Game Pass. Between the endless subscription menus and your own constantly growing backlog of unplayed games, staring at the screen doesn't make you excited, it makes you exhausted. You scroll left, you scroll right, you watch a few dashboard trailers, and 20 minutes later you just turn it off and open YouTube instead. It's a modern gaming paradox. It's the same as having 200 channels and nothing to watch. You have everything to play, and you play absolutely nothing. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I beat my own digital choice paralysis and cured my own personal backlog burnout by sharing the rules I use to actually enjoy free time again. My hope is that it might just help you jump out of the menus and back into your games. Before we get into how to fix this, we have to understand how we got here. If you are feeling this burnout, this choice paralysis, you haven't lost your love for gaming, you're just overwhelmed by this unprecedented access. Look back at the older generations, things like the Xbox 360 or PS3 era. When you dropped full price on a single physical disc, it forced deep immersion. You played it because it was what you had. Today's backlog burnout is just an accidental byproduct of our modern all-you-can-eat digital buffet. I was talking to a friend recently who plays absolutely everything, but rarely ever rolls credits on a game. When I asked him why he bounces around so much, what he said completely made a lot of sense. He told me, some days I feel like being a Jedi, other days I want to be a samurai, and sometimes I just want to be a soldier. I can't commit to just one feeling for 40 hours. And that perfectly captures our modern struggle. We aren't just picking a game anymore, we're trying to pick an identity for the night. When you treat your games like a Netflix menu, constantly flipping channels to chase a specific vibe, the commitment feels way too heavy. Because there is a limitless ocean of incredible movies, shows, and YouTube content just one button away, the easiest choice sometimes is just to give up, grab a snack, and watch someone else play a game instead. About 10 years ago, right around my graduation from college, I stumbled into this newfound love for deep single-player titles. I was suddenly craving these rich narrative-driven experiences, but I had a massive problem. My free time was at an absolute premium. First, my week was already packed, between keeping up with sports, or always finding a new TV show to binge, or spending time with my significant other. Hours in my week were already slipping away. And the actual gaming time I did have was dedicated to my friends. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't regret a single second of those multiplayer lobbies. I have incredibly fond memories of those late night sessions with my crew, and I loved playing with them. But because of that, anytime they were online, I'd immediately jump right in. The struggle was that my newfound passion for single-player stories was constantly getting put on the back burner. I wanted to experience these epic solo adventures, but the pull of hanging out with my friends, combined with keeping up with sports and TV, meant those single-player games were just gathering digital dust. I finally realized that if I wanted to experience these new worlds, I had to be intentional and carve out dedicated time for my own solo journey. I realized I needed a way to cut through the digital noise and force myself to focus. Personally, I've always been incredibly objective-focused. If I have a to-do list I can check off or a clear goal to work toward, I will stick with it. So I decided to turn experiencing these games into a tangible goal. I began tracking the games I was playing on an ongoing, living list to finally determine what my most impactful game of all time actually was. It became the ultimate catalyst for me to finish what I started. I created a running master list. Having this evolving, objective-driven list completely cured my choice paralysis. I wasn't just aimlessly scrolling menus anymore, I was actively building a continuous personal history of my life as a gamer. So, if your console or PC feels more overwhelming than an escape, here are the 3 rules I use to keep my objective-driven list going. Rule number 1, the one main game rule. Commit to only playing one main single-player game at a time. I do not let myself start another single-player story until I have either fully beaten the one I am currently playing or officially retired it. This completely eliminates choice paralysis, because the decision of what to play is already made before I even turn on the console. Now, on a video that's all about beating the backlog and also curing that choice paralysis, how do you choose one main game? For me, it was always based on whatever vibe I was feeling in that moment in time. We talked earlier about how I have that friend that sometimes he wanted to be a Jedi or a samurai. Well, the same goes here. Just once you start the one game, don't start anything else until it's finished. Now, you might say, easier said than done. I agree. But ultimately, once you know that, hey, if I beat this game, I can put it down on my list. I can use my list as this objective. I want to see where this ranks amongst everything else. Well, then you're kind of positioned to fix it, right? You want to finish that game. You want to complete that game. And then move on to the next. And what I've found personally, what works for me, is as I'm playing through that one main game, I'm already mentally building up, what am I going to play next? A lot of times I'll actually organize it around the release schedule. What's coming out soon? You know, if I have a game that's coming out that I really want to play, and I know that I'm going to play it on launch day, well, then I'll choose my one main game as a game with a shorter story or less gameplay, or maybe I'll focus on a multiplayer game for a bit. All in all, the importance of the one main game rule is you were going to beat choice paralysis by choosing the one game that you felt like playing that time, and that way, then you can tick it off the list, move on to the next game that you were feeling while playing it, and so on and so forth. All in all, choosing your one main game is the most important step. If you can just pick a game and stick with it until you roll credits, you'll be on the right path to clearing that backlog and really handling choice paralysis. Rule number 2, you pay to play, not the other way around. Remember, you aren't getting paid to play video games. You pay to play video games. You are using your limited free time to unwind, so protect your peace. Make sure you actually enjoy the experience. Prioritize actual fun other than gamer pride. If a game gets too hard or a boss fight is just frustrating instead of challenging, lower the difficulty. With so little free time available, you have to be ruthless about playing what you genuinely want to play. Rule number 3, embrace the Hall of Shame. Do not be afraid to move on from a game. I actually have a personal Hall of Shame. If I sink over 10 hours into a game and I finally realize I'm just not enjoying it, I drop it, and into the Hall of Shame it goes. And that is perfectly okay. Drop the completionist guilt and move on to something you will enjoy. So, I want to challenge you today. Look at your massive digital library and pick your one main game. It's time to stop scrolling and start playing. Let me know in the comments which game you are officially making your main focus. Until next time, play what you want, lower the difficulty if you need to, and have fun.